My name is Jannarone. I'm an attorney in New Jersey, and I've got offices in Wall Township and in Matawan. I've been in practice for over 30 years. A large part of my practice is devoted to matrimonial matters. I also do real estate, wills, powers of attorney, living wills. I've been a municipal court judge for 14 years, so I do some municipal court defense. The biggest parts of my practice now are matrimonial and real estate. In New Jersey, there are a number of ways to get a divorce. The first way that everybody knows about is through the litigation system. In that system, the parties generally each have their own attorney. One is the plaintiff, who files the complaint for divorce. The other is the defendant, who files an answer and often a counterclaim for divorce. Once their papers are filed, they go through a series of court dates, and at each court date, they're there with their lawyers. There are many other people there, so it's not public, it's not private, it's public, and they must wait their turn. And they go through the process until they either reach a settlement, or if they can't reach a settlement, they go before a judge who decides all of their issues. And with the judge deciding their issues, they've essentially opted out of having any say in matters of their finances, in dividing their assets and liabilities, and deciding matters of custody and parenting time, and they're leaving it in the hands of a stranger. As a result, I have found that many people say that after going through the whole litigation process all the way through trial, they're not happy. They're not happy because they spent a tremendous amount of money. It took a long time. They lost time from work. They became more antagonistic toward each other because the process sort of lends itself to that. Often the children are in a tough spot because their parents are fighting and it goes on in the house, and sometimes relationships are broken and can't be repaired. Not in every case, but that's the fallout from that. Another way of getting a divorce in New Jersey is through mediation. There the parties pick a neutral person who may or may not be an attorney. They go to that person in a series of meetings in that person's office, and they try to reach an agreement. In choosing mediation, these people have recognized that the litigation system is probably more expensive than they want to bear and longer, and they do want to have say in the ultimate decision. The best way to do mediation is for each of them to also have their own matrimonial attorney, so they're advised the whole process as to what the rights and obligations are. Unfortunately, the people who choose mediation, many of them decide not to get their own attorneys, but just rely on the mediator. The mediator, however, is a neutral and is really not supposed to be giving legal advice, just helping these people be guided into an agreement. And if they don't know what their legal rights are, they may be guided into an agreement that ends up not being the right thing. And when they find that out, by ultimately going to attorneys to finalize the agreement, the process may be longer and more expensive by far than what they had anticipated. Now in New Jersey, we have something that is new. It's been around less than 10 years. It is all over the world, it's all over the country. It's called collaborative divorce. It's a new, and in my opinion, after doing thousands of divorces, a wonderful thing. From the very beginning, each party has their own attorney. They have legal advice all through the process. They also decide to opt out of the court system. They make a declaration that they, with the help of their attorneys and other professionals they hire, will settle their own case. They will not leave their children, their money, their debts to a stranger, the judge, to decide. They will settle it themselves. The parties make a pledge that they will be civil to one another, that they will listen to one another. They recognize their compromises that are involved. They also make a pledge that they're not going to have their children as victims as a result of this divorce. If people have the need for extra professionals to come in besides their attorneys, we have collaboratively trained financial people, accountants, and financial planners. We have collaboratively trained mental health professionals, whether it's a coach for during the meetings just to help keep things on an even keel, or a child specialist if the children are having any problems. So we bring these people in as neutrals. If there's a business to be evaluated, we can bring in a neutral financial person to perform that evaluation. Thus, we save on the war of experts because we have one that both people chose through an open process and both people have access to all the information. Ultimately, an agreement is reached, and then it's finalized and the parties are divorced. The numbers that come in terms of the cost, they're coming in that it's about a third cheaper. It is the kind of process where, unlike court, where you must stay until you're released by the judge, if in a collaborative case someone simply doesn't have enough time, or perhaps someone becomes too upset, we can stop the meeting and reschedule. The control is all in the hands of the parties and their attorneys. And as a result, it's a much more satisfying and successful process. I believe that. I practice a lot in collaborative law, and it's by far my preference to have a collaborative case, both for myself as well as for my clients. I'm Catherine Jannarone. I'd be happy to help you in obtaining a divorce, a fair and reasonable result for you at a cost that's also bearable. Call me at 732-566-9101.